So I was in the shower, I was cleaning my ass and making all sure it's all sparkly, spanky clean.
I'm not the funny one, I'm the pretty one.
Cock shots. I just checked myself out.
Candles, music, wine, and then lube up and get on top.
The glory hole's like a big theater. I've imagined your family.
Which means your pants had better come off. Mama needs playtime. I do that.
We're not sluts.
We just love love. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mrs. Atom.
And this is Mr. Atom.
And you're listening to By the By.
Yeah, our little podcast thing that we do.
Welcome.
Hi.
Is that all you have to say? Wow. Mr. Atom is very silent tonight.
Yeah, I'm enjoying my cocktail tonight.
Oh, okay.
We're not doing wine. We're both doing cocktails, which
That's
is really rare for us.
True.
I know.
Yeah.
This could be a new whole podcasting experience.
Excellent. Let's hope it goes well.
We'll see. Brace yourself.
All right. What are we talking about tonight?
What are we talking about tonight? So, this is Sunday, and Friday night we were at our secret spot once again. It's become our we're becoming regulars.
Been there a lot the past month.
Yeah, I think every weekend for the
Yeah.
past 4 weeks we've been there for some reason or another.
It's good. Yeah.
I mean, we all know the reason, but
There's worse places to hang out.
hells yeah, love that place. No, it's been really good. So, but we were there this past Friday for the second of their sex ed series, where MisJif was there talking about G-spot massage and clitoral stimulation. Dum dum dum.
Yes, it was very exciting. And it's one of those, it was just an intro kind of class, but it's good because there's a lot of people who they either don't know a lot of techniques, maybe a few, but not a lot, or you get in the habit of doing the same thing with your partner because you know it works and you forget to mix it up a bit.
And that's very true.
And it's good to have that reminder of, hey, why don't you try this every now and again?
Yeah. And so, I know Mrs. Adam and I were talking about this earlier today. For me, what happens is I know it works for her, and so we tend to rush things at times, not every time, but you go through that same step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and I have a bad habit of that's the order that we go in. Now, each step might have some variability within it, but that's still it's the same logical progression, and I think that does a disservice to new partners, where you assume what works for one woman works for all women, or what works for one man works for all men, and that's absolutely incorrect.
Right.
So it's kind of nice to have that pull back on the reins and go, hey, pay attention to what's going on. So it was really awesome.
It was good.
So we got there wicked early because we were part of the live demo. We've been talking about it on Twitter, and it was really exciting, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't pay attention to a lot of the talk. We had MisJif over to the week before to kind of go over what she was going to talk about and what she was going to do. And we discussed some techniques and what works for Mrs. Adam and I. And then we did a live demo for just MisJif, private showing, in our living room. Just to make sure that she wanted to know what was going on, because she was going to narrate while we did it. So with all that, and we had seen her, she does these wonderful handouts that she gives the class that you can take home. And so I had read through that. So when she was up there talking, I got to be honest, I didn't pay much attention at all because I was a bit on the nervous side, because I know, you, Mrs. Adam, were going to be the one that was, I'm going to say air quotes, performing, but I was doing the heavy lifting.
That's true.
I was a little stressed about that.
Yeah, no, it went well. But I paid attention to her talk because I wanted to see what kind of materials she covered, because it's one of those things that there's so much information that needs to get said. and she only has an hour to do it, and a little bit less because of the demo part. And so I wanted to see, you know, what she was able to cover and how much she was able to get through, which I think then kind of fed into what we were going to do as well.
Yes.
But she started off with talking about the anatomy. Because, again, some people think they know what's all there, but maybe not everything. Or some people just really don't pay attention, you know?
Yeah.
And so she was talking about the anatomy of the, I'm going to say the vaginal area, but it encompassed everything from, you know, the clitoris and the clitoral hood, the labia, both the inner and the outer labia. You've got the urethral opening, the vagina. Then you've got, of course, the anus and the spot in between. But she kind of went into a little more detail on each of those. And she talked a bit about arousal and stimulating the whole area, just the whole pelvic area, you know, bringing blood flow to that area, much like she did with the Giving Good Head talk. You know, just talk about kind of warming that up and getting blood into the area and, you know, getting your body starting to think about it and awaken that area, the zone. And so she kind of went through some different techniques to do that. And then she talked about, you know, petting, you know, using a flat hand.
Heavy petting.
But, you know, some people we only use like one or two fingers, but she was talking about using your whole hand to kind of caress upward and just, again, just to use the whole pelvic area as opposed to focusing on one little tiny area.
I'm sorry, when you said so I'm watching Mrs. Adam talk, and she talks with her hands, and it's really adorable because she does the whole flat hand thing, and all I can imagine is you're giving a vagina a high five. Way to go, vagina! Good game. That's what I imagine.
No, it's petting, not smacking.
and then also you said vaginal, which is so Australian.
Vaginal?
Because, that's all the Australians say vaginal.
It's probably because I've been hearing her say that.
Yeah, and I'm like, every time somebody says, I'm like, isn't it vaginal? But anyway.
I probably did say vaginal.
But I guess it's not a vagina.
Yeah. Well, I probably did say vaginal when we lived in the States,
Yeah.
but I think I've just been hearing her say vaginal so much that, that's kind of what's stuck in my head now.
I'm going to put my penis in your vagina. Anyway.
Okay.
So she started off with an excellent clip from Friends. And, if you've not seen this clip, it's a great one where Chandler is asking...
Season 4, episode 11.
I love it. Chandler is asking Monica and Rachel about how to turn a woman on and how to get her excited. And so Monica draws a map of the erogenous zones on a woman. And she's going through, it's like, okay, a 1 2, a 1 2 3, a 3 4, and then goes on. She's going 7 7. It's just great. So if you haven't seen it, I just
look it up. It's well worth it.
But look it up. It's great. But she started off with that because that's a really great way to, one, lighten the mood, but two, sort of get the idea of and it's almost a direct quote from Friends. Is like most people go 1 2 and then set up camp down at 7.
Yeah.
And the whole point, I think, of MisJif's talk was that you've got to know your partner and you pay attention to multiple of the erogenous zones. You don't just focus on one.
And everyone's erogenous zones can be a little different as well. So again, that's part of learning your partner and learning what turns them on.
Yeah.
But again, don't just focus on one little tiny area because you're doing a disservice to your partner if you do.
Yeah.
Really.
And you're missing out on a lot of fun.
I know.
Those other areas can be great.
Yeah.
So at this point, we were in the side room sitting on a massage table that you were going to be laying on. So after she went through some of the heavy petting
and the awakening and the heavy petting and
one of the things she did talk about, which I think it's funny because you know this, most people know this, where the G-spot is, but I never really paid attention to what it feels like. I'm even with my hands, I'm in there, I'm clearly feeling your G-spot, but I never really was like, oh yeah, this is a G-spot. But
Right.
after listening to her, I'm like more conscientious of what it feels like.
Yeah, because the tissue is different.
Yeah, and it is. It feels
Yeah.
completely different from the rest of the tissue in there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting.
It's a little ridged. It's not as smooth.
Yeah, almost like a sponge.
Right.
It has that spongy. It feels spongy, but it's also got that texture almost of a sponge.
And it may not feel as prominent, may not feel quite as different early on, but as the woman becomes more and more aroused, that swells up, and then you can kind of really feel the difference a bit more then.
Yeah. So it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that is important because I heard from several people, that they didn't know what, they're like, I don't know if I've ever, hit my G-spot. I don't know what it feels like. How is it different? And so I think it's really helpful to know, that it's, on the stomach side, just inside the roof there, 1 to 3 inches, depending, and that you can feel for that difference in texture, and that's a helpful pointer if you don't know and if you've never experienced it.
Yeah.
Because we did hear from some people that they didn't know.
Right.
And,
they didn't know, and they didn't know if they'd ever had a G-spot orgasm.
Right.
They didn't know where their G-spot was, and these are ladies that are talking about that. To me, I find that's kind of sad.
But I think it's part of a lot of cultures is that they don't talk about sex as much, and especially within their families and whatnot, it's not talked about. It's they much like our grandparents, or at least I know yours, but anyway, they have sex to have children, and that's it. Yeah. It's not for pleasure, and so they don't really explore, and then they don't talk about it with their children, and so you may not know what to look for yourself, and you may not know how to look for it yourself, and where, and how to, if you don't really take the time to pleasure yourself and to explore on your own. Yeah.
That's true.
And if your partner is of the same culture, then they may not either.
Yeah.
So I think, but I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
Yeah.
Is from that. Yeah. But so she talked about that. She talked about the clit, of course, and different ways, different techniques to stimulate the clit, and to use the whole clitoral hood area. And she had quite a few techniques on how to play with the clit and how to stimulate and keep it varied, keep the motion a bit varied, so it's not always the same thing.
And then that was another thing very similarly to what she was talking about with the giving good head is, if you find something, don't just stick with the same thing, because over and over and over the person's going to get numb, or it's not going to have that same excitement or effect as if you're constantly changing your technique. Do it 10 times, then try something new. You can always come back to it, but don't stick with something until it's the orgasm is building.
Right.
And I think that's great advice that I think a lot of people could learn from.
Yeah.
You don't have to just do the same thing over and over and over, because at some point both you and your partner are going to get a little bit bored.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
And it, and after a while too, it may not feel as good anymore.
Yeah.
If it's the same thing, just repeatedly.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I was going to say something I completely forgot.
So you looked like you were gearing up to say something important.
Yeah, I was going to say something, but then my brain, I fell off the train of thought. Okay, go ahead, continue.
Okay. So she went through, of course, the different clitoral techniques, and then she talked about licking and different ways to lick and suck on a woman. Again, there are multiple techniques to use, and so she talked about a few of those. And
I'm a fan of the licking.
Yeah, I am too. Yes, it's awesome. And she talked about finger techniques inside the vagina. This goes back to the G-spot. Different ways to stimulate the G-spot. Again, not everybody is the same. Some people, she went through, I think, 3 or 4 techniques, maybe 4 different ones. I'll have to look here. Yeah, and again, not everybody likes the same one. So there's, some people like a twisting motion. Some people like a come hither, which is the most common one that people do. And then also using your fingers in a V shape to massage on the sides of the G-spot. So those were some of the main ones, but she kind of demonstrated those, and she had a little I don't know, I'm going to say rubber, but I know they aren't rubber.
Yeah, it's like the real flesh kind of.
Yeah. But,
yeah,
so she had 2
they're
of those.
masturbatory tools for men.
Yeah, so she had 2 of those that were like fake little vaginas and stuff, and so she was demonstrating on those and passed them around so people could feel them and whatnot. I think that was kind of helpful then as well, to be able, and also to see the anatomy a bit. They're not entirely anatomically correct, but they were close.
Yeah, they're close. Yeah. Another one of them had clits.
No.
Poor ladies.
One of them had a clitoral hood, I think.
Yes.
But it didn't have a clit.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's funny. talking about the number of fingers, because I know like for you,
Yeah.
I tend to use just one finger. I know there have been people that put 2 fingers inside of you, but I don't have huge hands. But I always feel like with 2 fingers, it's just I don't have the
You can't maneuver.
I don't have the mobility that I really want. So I tend to I'm a 1 finger kind of guy.
Yeah.
There are a few partners that I've had 2 fingers, but
Yeah, as I say, I think you have to feel it out based on your
Yeah.
partner. 1 finger, 2. Some people like 3 or
a whole fist.
more. Yeah. But you just have to feel out your partner and see what works for them.
Yeah.
I do tend to prefer 1, maybe 2 at the most, depending on the situation. Yeah.
Yep.
We've had a female partner who had more than that in me, but she had small hands, so that helps.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that was most of what she talked about. Oh yeah, and then I forgot as far as one of the techniques around the G-spot was also the waggle. So using your fingers in a side-to-side motion or circular around the G-spot
Yeah.
as well.
One of the things she did as well, and when she was over here, she had given us some dental dams.
Yes.
So if you've never used a dental dam, so the idea is that it's a thin piece of latex. You can also use cling wrap or cellophane, whatever. But if you have like dental issues, or maybe your gums are bleeding or whatnot, and you don't want to,
Or if you're just overly cautious.
or if you're overly
Yeah.
cautious, absolutely. You put this dental dam over the lady, and we tried that. And,
We did.
So most of them are flavored, which is odd, but
And they're very thin.
I was surprised at how thin. Like you stretch
yeah.
it just a bit, and you could almost see through it.
Yeah, I thought that they would be thicker than
Yeah.
they were, so I was kind of real hesitant to even try it.
Yeah.
But I was surprised at how thin they are.
It's interesting too because the flavors seem odd to me. One of the flavors was black cola.
But then there was a wild berry.
Yeah, and vanilla.
Yeah.
But black cola just seems odd. I don't know. I mean, what other color are you or what other flavor are you gonna make black?
Right. Licorice, but
Oh,
that's...
God,
yeah,
that
no.
would be horrific.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, yeah, it'd be horrific.
No.
But yeah, so we tried that, and it's good. I had trouble breathing because I like to dig my face in there.
Yeah.
And
I
so
was going to say, pull the nose out.
I know, but then
Uncover
I don't
your
know.
nose.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was good. It makes analingus a lot easier because you can put it over the anus and then lick away. You're tossing the salad through a bit of cellophane, which is odd, but it works.
Yeah, it was interesting because, much like the gloves with the hand job,
Right.
it changes the feel a little bit, but it is an interesting, different kind of feel. And definitely something, I wouldn't mind from time to time for something a little different.
We still got a few
But
in there, so
I know.
all you have to say is, damn it up, baby.
I know. And pretty soon I'm hoping to try it out on one of our female partners.
Ooh,
Myself.
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Oh, then you'll be able to do the tasty thing. Yeah, we'll have to take them up this weekend.
I know.
We're having a dirty weekend with a couple.
Yeah, we are.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk about that. That's another podcast. Yeah, so she passed those around and let everybody touch and smell and feel.
And she did talk again about using gloves if you want to for play. The little,
Finger cots. Yeah, it's like a condom for your fingers.
Yeah. So if you wanted to use that in play as well, she talked about that. Of course, lubrications. She brought up lube again.
Yeah.
And what was it, Replens? The one that's like
yeah.
if you're continually dry, that you use this.
It's like a 2 or 3 day.
Yeah, it lasts for like 3 days or
Yeah.
something. So again, if you have any kind of issues, whether it be with age or hormones or whatever, where you're a little bit continually drier, and I'm sure doctors can tell you all about that more. But
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I know you were tempted to try it, but you're already like a.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, if you use something like that, we would have to put you in a nappy.
It's tempting, but maybe one day. Well, hopefully not.
I also
but-
wonder how that changes the taste, or
That's
if
a
it
good
changes the taste.
question.
I was curious about that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So after that, I mean, basically, she talked for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and so I will say, at the very beginning, she's talking about what people should expect from this session, and then she says, "And I have a live demo," and there was 2 or 3 people, and woo, like, no pressure. So
You're well practiced.
I know, but even you can know your lines forwards and backwards, but you still get on stage and get in front of the lights, and you're like, I don't know what play this is even. So she was like, all right, folks, let's move into the other room. We'll do the live demo. And so this group of 24 people, I think, moved into the other room. And then MisJif was there. And then we had 3 of the folks from OSS there. So there we are, Mrs. Adam, naked on a massage table. And me, I kept my clothes on because,
Just seemed appropriate.
It seemed appropriate because you were the star, and I was like, I didn't want to take away any of your thunder, like I could. And you have 28 people staring at you, and MisJif is like, all right, let's get this show on the road. And so we started, and what I think is interesting, and one of the things I really like about our relationship is that it only took me about 15 seconds before there was only 2 people in that room.
Yeah.
And it was just you and me.
Everybody else fades to background.
Yeah, it was really
just
bizarre.
Us.
And I didn't expect that to happen. It was like as soon as we kind of started that ball rolling, like you said, everything sort of around us faded to gray. And it was just you and me, and that was it. Now, MisJif was talking the entire time, and occasionally that would pull me out of that sort of stupor or whatever.
Yeah, she was talking through the techniques that
Yes.
you were doing, and you were going through a number of the techniques that she had talked about in the class, and so it was a way for people to kind of see it in action, per se.
So everybody's watching, and so I know that you, right before you came the first time, I kind of did pull myself out of it to sort of take a look around at everybody, and everybody was leaning forward on the edge of their seats, sort of like this intensity was there. And then afterwards, you had this really nice, clear, everybody could tell orgasm. That was clitoral orgasm. And there was this sort of unified from the
collective
group.
sigh.
Yeah, a collective sigh from the group. And everybody sort of relaxed a bit, but then I didn't stop. Then we started the G-spot massage. And then once again, it was like right there, everybody kind of moves in again. But it was good. Yeah, it ended up, it was easier because I just sort of got into this zone of, this is what we're doing, and it was just you and me, and it was really nice.
Yeah, I kind of just, like I said, it was just you and I, and everybody else just went into background for me. And afterwards I wondered, I mean, there's no way to, but it's, should I acknowledge other people? But there's no real way to. And I was just laying back and enjoying it.
Yeah.
Because you were doing your thing, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's what it needed to be. That's sort of what I wanted.
And you hit all my erogenous zones, not just the clit and the G-spot.
Yeah, I tried.
Because I really like my nipples played with, and kissing and my neck, and you were going back and forth between those very well, which I think was another thing that she talked about during her course, was that you need to, even if you go down the erogenous zones, much like the Friends clip, if you go down them and then you make it, down to the clit or the vagina, then, come back to those. You don't always have to, like, once you're down there, you don't have to stay down there, but come back and be sure to keep that stimulated and keep it going, because that also keeps you in the zone mentally. And of course, we all know the brain's probably the biggest erogenous zone of all.
Yeah.
So.
And it was another thing that I find very easy was the fact that you were on this table. So you were about at waist height. So I'm bent over you. It was very easy for me to have, one hand either massaging the clit or the G-spot, one hand caressing the back of your neck, and then my mouth on your breasts. And having that, you were at the perfect height for that, which we'll talk about that later because that happened again. But I find that the massage table really works because you're at that perfect height. Right. And now I have a new thing that we can use our dining table for. So any friends who have ever eaten at our dining table, we're totally going to have sex on this table.
Oh, yeah, of course. I think they would expect no less.
I know, right? For Thanksgiving, I'm stuffing the turkey.
Wait, am I turkey?
Yeah, but it was really kind of it worked. It worked. So yeah. So afterwards, we were basically done. I mean, 2 orgasms. I mean, come on. What more do you want? And we didn't want to eat up too much of the time.
It was a good start to the night.
Yeah, and that was, I think, it was close to record time for us. It was like 7 minutes is how long that took. Yeah. And we're very fortunate in that you come very fast.
Right.
Because MisJif was saying it takes her like 35 minutes.
Yeah, and I think that was, one thing that we had talked about beforehand with her is that, the goal is not necessarily for me to come. If it happens, that's great. The goal is to demonstrate some of the techniques for people. It just happens that they get me there quickly, so that's even better.
I know, right? So it was really good, and so with that, I think she kind of closed the class. It was like, thank you very much.
Yep.
And then we had a number of people that had come up to us and was like, wow, that was awesome, thank you.
Yeah. And we had a number of questions. I know MisJif and I we talked to several people that they had questions and wanted a little more information, whether it be about the G-spot and whatnot, and then even questions about future classes and topics that might be covered in future classes. So it was good to talk to people afterwards and just kind of see where they were, experience level, headspace, what did they need help with, what did they get out of the class, that kind of thing. Maybe where can another class on it go in the future.
Right.
If there's any kind of advanced courses. Right now I know she's just doing kind of basic intro 101s. That probably won't always stay that way.
Right.
And so it was good to talk to people and get a feel for, just get some feedback.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think it would be interesting to do like full day or full half day full workshops kind of thing. Doing a 4-hour, like this is what we're going to do, and actually break it up with live demos and maybe a little snack break and whatnot.
Practice sessions.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever your comfort level is.
And if you need help, there's someone there to help.
I think that would be interesting to do. We need to figure out how we would.
I think she'll get there with it.
Facilitate that. Yeah, it would be fun.
I think at this point it's all just kind of starting, and then once she gets some of the basic 101s down, then it can kind of build from there.
How the ball's going to start rolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I was, once again, much like last time, I was amazed at MisJif, her ability to control 24 people.
She's such a good presenter.
She really is. She's entertaining. Yeah. She's funny, and she's got good information. Yeah. Which is, it's fun. She's engaging. So it was really good. And I think overall the response from folks was very positive.
Right.
I know we spoke to a lot of people that were really happy. One person was like, well, I'd really like an advanced workshop, hint, hint, hint. And so so I know MisJif was like, yes, down the road.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the Sex Ed 101, or I guess G-spot manipulation or G-spot massage.
And clitoral stimulation.
Yeah. I like the word manipulation. But
manipulation better than stimulation?
I don't know. It sounds a little naughty.
Dirtier?
Yeah. Manipulate the hell out of that G-spot. So of course we stayed. The party, the class was over, and we started trying to help or reorganize the club to make it
take down the massage table.
Table. Somebody else put up all the chairs. I don't know if that was the law.
I'm not sure.
But he was kind of frantically trying to get the club back together, and we were doing our best to help and not get in the way. So he got the club back together, and then it opened up, and we sat and talked to MisJif for a while, and some of the folks that had come to the education were hungry, and so we gave some advice on where to go to eat, and then we I guess MisJif left shortly thereafter, and we started walking around the club, seeing what was going on. So in a distinctly un-Mr. Adam sort of way, by performing for 28 people and making Mrs. Adam come twice in front of those people, I had a bit of swagger. I could tell that there was something different about me. It was a great confidence. It was a great confidence booster. Because again, even after the class was over and we were walking around, we'd have people come up to us and go, "But that was really intense. That was really hot." And it was like, "Oh, thanks." Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest compliments that I heard was that people could really see the connection between us.
Yeah.
And I think that, to me, that's a compliment, because I know it's there, but it's interesting that other people see it too.
Yeah, it's nice.
So,
it is nice.
Yeah.
And I know one of the folks that we talked to later on that night, she and I were talking, and I was like, look, she said, you guys were so intense. It was like it was just you two.
Yeah.
Like, that was exactly what we wanted. Because I know you were concerned about maybe acknowledging people, or, even answering questions at one point. We had talked about that, answering questions while I was doing it. And I think that would have been a complete mistake. I think that
it takes you out of the
you don't want it
moment.
to be clinical.
Yeah.
Oops. Sorry. I just smacked the table. Because I'm talking with my hands as well. You don't want it to be clinical. You want it to be, because that's this passionate thing. So you and I think we got a glass of wine or two, and we I know we sequestered ourselves off by ourselves for a little bit, just because it was kind of that post-coital, let's kind of decompress. And in a very uncharacteristic of the Adams night, we didn't go into the BDSM room.
No, we didn't. We did not go in that room at all.
Which I think that's the first time we've been to OSS and not just even stepped foot in that room.
I think so.
Which, mind blown.
Yeah.
So it ended up being a lot of night of firsts.
I know. Well, there was a lot of other stimulation. So we had a lot of people to talk to.
Yeah.
There was one couple in particular that we talked to for a bit.
Oh yeah, the ones that wanted to stay.
They wanted to stay, but they'd already made plans to meet someone afterwards. Because they didn't plan on staying after the class. And so they stayed for, maybe an hour or so after?
Probably, yeah.
And
just long enough to drink some drinks, and then they were like, now we have to go.
Yeah, but they really kind of seemed like they wanted to stay, and I enjoyed talking to them. They were
nice
very
couple.
nice.
He was a very handsome man.
Oh, yes.
And she was a nice, attractive lady as well.
Yeah.
And they were both nice. And
good conversation with
very
them.
Complimentary of us, very complimentary of the class, but still kind of, constructive criticism, which is, if you're going to criticize, make it positive. Try to build on something. Don't just cut it down.
Don't just tear it down.
Yeah. And that's what she was doing. She was giving really good, I thought, constructive criticism. Like, this is good information.
Yeah.
So we did talk to them for a while. And then I'm a bit blurry on when we talked to people, because, as a side note, we were there for how long?
8 hours.
8 hours.
Yeah.
So we were at OSS for nearly 8 hours.
A full work day.
A full work day. Wow. So we were there for a long time. And so we talked to a couple other couples that were really nice folks.
Yeah.
And then at one point, you and I went up to the massage tables. And then I hopped on the massage table, and you were kind of massaging me a bit. And then one thing led to another, and a little bit of 69, and then a lot of sex on the massage table. And I always feel a little guilty to have sex on the massage table, because there is a sign that says massage tables are for massages. If you're going to have a conversation, go downstairs. But we weren't talking.
We weren't having a conversation. Well, not an oral, not a, an audible conversation.
Not an oral.
Yeah.
No, we weren't talking with our mouths.
With our words.
With our words.
Yeah.
But I know people have sex on those, so I'm not like freaking out about it. But it's just sort of like, we're sort of commandeering this massage table. But it's funny because it's right in the middle of the path.
Yeah.
So if you've not been to OSS before, you walk up the stairs and you turn to the right. Immediately there's a bedroom on the right. You go down this little hall, and it opens up into a little wider hallway. And immediately on your right in this wider hallway is another bathroom. And then there's two big ass massage tables. And then you sort of thread that needle through the massage tables, and then there's the spa.
Yeah.
And then to the right of the spa is the smoking area outside. Well, people are walking into the spa the whole time, and we're having sex on the table, and people walking by us, and it is this interesting sort of almost a bit theater-esque, a bit zoo, where people stop and stare at you, and you're like, huh, yeah, and then they go on.
And they go on, yeah.
Right after we finished, we were still in that sort of post-coital bliss, and people, one of the ladies that works at OSS was taking a small group on a tour.
Oh, that's funny. The first timers tour.
Yeah, the first timers tour. And she's like, this is the massage table. As you see, it is currently being used for something that is not massage. She doesn't sound like that, but she did in my head. And then it's like, this is the spa area.
That's funny.
So that was entertaining.
Yeah, so after that, we wandered back downstairs and got another drink. And as we were doing that, there was a couple that came back in. I think they had left and gone to dinner.
Yep.
And then came back through.
And you complimented her dress.
Yeah, it was a very pretty dress.
Yeah.
And they were just kind of passing through, going to the locker room, and I was like, oh, hey, I like your dress, because it's really pretty. And she's like, oh, thank you. And, I don't know, that's how she sounded in my head, but not really. I don't think her voice was that high-pitched.
No, I don't think it was.
But yeah, but they were both really cute.
Oh, yeah, they were a cute couple.
Yeah, and so they were passing through and went to the locker room, and we were standing there getting our drink, chatting with the bar staff a bit. I don't remember there being anyone else around at the moment.
I don't recall that either.
Maybe in passing,
Yeah.
because there were a lot of people kind of wandering through back and forth.
That's right. And then they came back through, and I think they were already in towels, because I think their plan was to go up to the spa.
Right.
And they stopped and talked to us for a wee bit.
Yeah, we talked to them for a little while down there.
Yeah.
And they were nice, they were fun, good conversation. And we found out and they were headed, like you said, up to the spa. And I was enjoying the conversation enough to where I was like, well, I want to keep talking to these people.
Yes.
And they're going to the spa. So we can either stay down here and maybe not really get another chance to talk to them the rest of the night, or we go up to the spa, which we don't really get in the spa too often.
We don't like the spa. It's so Mrs. Adam is in microbiology, and I know enough to make myself not like spas. But on the bright side,
unless it's a private spa,
and we know that OSS cleans it out every night.
Yeah.
That helps.
Right.
So it's not like it's
It's not sitting or anything. So
it's not just human stew.
It's not stagnant. Yeah. And so, but they were going up there, and so it was one of those, do we stay down here and just kind of then maybe play somewhere else, whatever, or do we go up into the spa with them?
And plus, we'd already played, and typically, we will often play twice, but not always.
Yeah.
So, and then with the whole theater thing in the beginning, it was sort of a play, but we went back and forth, and Mrs. Adam and I had a little conference, and we were like, all right, that couple is really hot.
They're really hot. And they're really hot. They were nice. They were fun to talk to.
They were easy to talk to. They were intelligent, and it's like, let's
just do it. Let's
go up to the spa.
So we went up.
Second first time. This was a second first,
That's
which
true.
was getting into the spa. So we went and changed, dressed out of our clothes.
No, we didn't. I just went up there and what I had, and I hung it on the
that's
little
right.
hook.
You did, and I did as well. You're right. I completely forgot.
We did grab towels.
We did go and grab towels. Yeah.
So we grabbed towels, but then I still had on my bra and panties.
Yeah, and I did still have my trunks on.
Yeah, but we just took them off up there and hung them on the little hook. Yeah. So we went up to the spa.
So I will say though, we get up to the spa and there's already 8 people in this spa.
Yes.
And I know Mrs. Adam was walking ahead of me, and she stopped and she goes, "I don't think there's room."
But somebody heard me in the spa.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I think it was the couple that we were following. It may not have been. It may have been another couple. It may have been the other couple that we had been talking to as well.
Yeah.
But somebody said, "Oh no, there's room."
Yeah.
And so we were like, why not? We're already here. So.
And you got in first because you just took your trunks off, and it took me a second longer to get bra and panties off. So you got in first and sat down, and then I climbed in and sat on your lap.
Yes.
Because it was pretty crowded.
Well, and at this point, there's 10 people in this spa. If there had been one more person in there, it would have started overflowing.
But I will say that getting in, I thought it was going to be quite warm.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too hot.
It was perfect temperature.
The perfect temperature. It was warm enough to be comfortable, but not so hot that you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
But you're also not freezing. So it was that really nice kind of middle ground on temperature.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so there's now 10 of us in this spa.
Yeah.
And again, it's right next to the smoking area.
Yeah.
And smokers, I'm not saying all smokers
Please
are this way.
be considerate of other people.
For fuck's sake, be considerate of other people. Most people, you are now becoming an endangered species. And I'm all about keeping, as a former smoker myself, I'm all about keeping the cigarettes alive. But just, if you go out to the smoking area, close the fucking door.
Yeah.
When you come in from the smoking area, you weren't raised in a barn. Maybe you were. And if you were raised in a barn, learn to close the barn door. It was driving me mad because it was breaking up conversation. We would start a great conversation, and then Mrs. Adam would have to get up, climb out of the hot tub, flashing the world of her business, which is hilarious all of its own because let's be realistic, there ain't no gracious way to get out of a hot tub.
No. Well, if there's not as many people, you can do the two leg, you swing your legs in and out of a car door type
that's
thing.
True.
But there were too many people to do that without kicking people in the head. So
Yeah.
it was just, one leg up and over, then the other leg up and over.
And so, all you have to decide is which one you're going to do. You're going to wink your brown eye at them or your pink eye. And that's what you want to be. I think most of that hot tub saw both of your eyes staring back at him at one point or another.
Yeah. Which is fine.
But you would close the door and then, or you would holler out at him like, hey, can somebody close the fucking door?
Yeah, well,
you didn't say it that way, but
no, I didn't.
It was clear what you meant.
No, there were, and I think too, there were at least, I'm going to say 2 groups of smokers in particular.
Yeah.
And to both of them, I think I only climbed out 2, maybe 3 times.
I think 3 times.
It might have been 3,
yeah.
but I said to each of them, whenever I didn't just close the door, I said to them, do you mind if I close the door? I'm allergic to the smoke.
Yeah.
I really don't want it coming inside. And so they're like, oh yeah, sorry. And I closed it. And, they would still occasionally leave it open.
Because they were fucking animals.
Yeah, I know. But it's just be considerate of other people, especially because there were so many people in the hot tub. And being the spa, it's a lot of humidity there.
Yes.
So you mix the humidity with the cigarette smoke, and
if you're asthmatic, it's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
So, yes, and it kept breaking up the conversation, but it was still kind of a funny way to break up the conversation.
It was funny.
Every time you're standing up and going, and this is my junk.
Yeah. I think some of the other people in the hot tub were just laughing about
it.
They
were. And it wasn't just you that was making, air quotes, graceful exits from this hot tub.
No.
I don't understand why, but the first couple that got out decided not to break up. So the couple that we were talking to and us were on either side of what is the stairs,
yeah.
the exit. So people weren't breaking through our conversation. They were being very considerate.
That's true, yeah.
They were exiting, again, in the most ungraceful of ways. Like
the side.
Yeah, the one dude almost fell on me, and I felt sorry for him. I was like, I'm going to catch you, but it's going to make us both uncomfortable because I'm going to catch you by the junk. And, then you've got the couple on the other side did something similar, and it was just, I don't know, it ended up being funny, but it's all culminates to, at one point, in a Hunger Games-esque sort of way, there was just us and the couple that we had stalked makes it sound creepy, but that we had followed up to the hot tub so we could talk to them. And we learned that they are podcast listeners.
Yeah.
Hello, sexy couple. So we need to come up with a name for them, but I don't have a name for them yet. Anyway, so they clearly have wonderful taste in podcasts.
Clearly.
They both listened to the podcast, and they were both intelligent. Like, once again, it just goes back to I felt like there was great chemistry between us. And so we got to the point where she said that she was going to give him a massage. I think
she wanted a massage, didn't she?
Oh, yeah. He was going to give her a massage because she had driven a long distance. And so he was going to give her a massage because she had driven. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh, you can join us if you want. And so we both sort of kicked that around. But for some reason, we went back downstairs to get another drink.
I think so.
And then come back up. Yeah. And so part of me is sort of like, I want to give people a break. You don't want to I don't want to hover, and I don't want to be that kind of predatory guy. Because every couple
needs a bit of their own time.
Yeah. And you also want to make sure that they really didn't say that just because they're being nice, that they actually truly mean it.
Yeah, that if they want a break or if they don't want you there, that they have that option.
Exactly. Yeah. So we went downstairs, had our glass of wine, and then went right back upstairs because, again, we were extremely interested in this couple. And when we got up there, both massage tables were full. And the couple that we had been wanting to talk to, or had been talking to, and then another couple. And the other couple got up and were like, oh, you guys can have this massage table, because they had been in the hot tub as well.
Right.
And I think they sort of saw that we had some sort of chemistry or connection with this other couple, which I was like really impressed with that.
I know. And we were like, you don't have to.
I sort of felt bad.
Yeah, because we told them, we're like, no, you don't have to. We'll just, watch for a bit if that's okay. And they're like, oh, no, we're done. Just like, okay.
All right, cool. Sure. So we both sat on the adjoining massage table, even though the sign says the massage table are for massaging. But we sat on the opposite massage table, and then at that point she was giving him a massage,
right,
which we kind of joked about. And then she asked if you wanted to help. And Mrs. Adam...
Well, because I commented on how he had a very nice body.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, because he had a really nice body. And I commented on that, and she was like, oh, you can help if you'd like. And so I did.
Yeah.
So I joined in. I don't think you quite caught that comment, because you looked at me and you're like, are you sure it's okay?
Yeah,
and I was like, she offered.
Well, it didn't. Well, so I did catch that comment, but it was her offering, not him offering. And so I know this is a line of consent, but and it was clear that he didn't care, but
Right.
at the same time, I'm sort of like, she's offering him, but in fact, I think that it should have been him, but I don't know. I go back and forth on that. Classic overthinker.
Right.
So I'm just going to randomly come up with the names Professor and Marianne for them,
Okay, sure.
because for some reason I've been thinking about Gilligan's Island anyway, and so anyway. So the professor is now laying on the table and Marianne's massaging him, and then Mrs. Adam comes over and starts massaging him as well. And I'm sitting there watching, and he commented at one point, it's like, I think you should give him a massage. And I'm like, no, this is actually entertaining. This is fun to watch. I'm liking this. And I think I made the comment, it's like, you usually have to pay extra to have forehand massage. But I still say that's something that every guy should get to experience at one point, is a simple massage with four hands, with two women. And, you guys had him roll over, and then both you guys were it was hot. Watching her go down on him while you're sort of playing with his legs, and it was hot. And so at some point, I don't know, she came over and sat next to me as well, because I don't know what you were doing. I would stop paying attention to you because I was talking to her.
Yeah.
And me being, again, uncharacteristic me, I sort of took the reins and was like, hey, do you want a massage? And she's like, yeah. So they had been at the sex ed, so
Right.
they had seen, our show before. And she had commented on how sexy and hot it was when we were in the hot tub. And so I started giving her a massage, and I was like, all right, this is going to be great. I'm going to make this great for her. And not to brag, but I think I did.
It sounded like it from the other side.
I was very focused on that slow build up, a lot of
the tease.
A lot of teasing. And it was really fun to do. She was one of those women that's very receptive and very pretty, and her skin was wonderfully soft, and
She has a nice body as well.
beautiful body.
Yeah, they're both very attractive.
Yeah, and so I played with her for a while, and that was great.
It certainly sounded like she was enjoying it.
Yeah, and I was very proud of some of my. I was on point. I had, that point of alcohol where it's like bowling and pool, or billiards.
Where you're at the top of the curve?
Yeah, you're at the top of the curve. So you start out at, okay, 2 or 3 drinks in, you become like the superstar of bowling or the superstar of pool. And then after that, you become a complete and tragic wreck.
Yeah.
I was at that superstardom point, I
Yeah.
felt, like with my wit, which is rare because I'm not a witty guy. And so then we switched places. After we made her roll over, and I got to massage the front side as well. Getting all aroused just sitting over here thinking about it. Anyway, so we switched places, and then she was massaging my back and doing a fantastic job. But then you came over because I'll let you tell why, to see if we wanted to move.
Oh, because, so there was a group in the hot tub at that point, and keep in mind the massage tables are right there near the hot tub.
Yeah, so you can hear back and forth.
Right. There was a group in there, and they were getting quite rowdy. The smokers were again leaving the door open a lot, but it was just kind of loud. There was you could hear all the conversation going on, and it was not
sexy.
It wasn't sexy conversation. And so it was kind of disrupting and breaking up the mood. And I think I could tell that we were all catching bits and pieces, and because every now and again somebody would giggle or somebody would roll their eyes or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of breaking up the mood. And I knew that
These people were sucking the sexy out.
Yeah. And I knew that the back set of stairs above the locker room, the times we had been downstairs that night, not many people had gone up there.
Yeah.
So I was taking a gamble that room was fairly empty.
Yeah.
And it has the 2 king-size beds together, so it's big enough for all of us to play very comfortably. And so
if somebody else were to come in,
there's still room.
There's still room for another couple.
Yeah. And so I kind of looked at everybody, and I was like, hey, do you want to move this party to the other room back down there? And we can continue on?
Yup.
Yeah. So
yeah.
we gathered our stuff and traipsed down there, and
and just as a side note, I don't understand why people can't be considerate.
Yeah.
It goes back to that, because these couples, whoever was in the hot tub,
I think there were like 3 couples.
they
I
were
don't know.
clearly intoxicated.
Yes.
and just obnoxious. It just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And we've seen these folks here before, and they're just, I don't know, it's that attitude that, I know the law and I have talked about it, that if you pay to come in somewhere, you sort of treat it like, well, I've paid. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And that's this attitude that these folks have.
Yeah, have some respect for other people around. Have some
Yeah.
respect for the property itself.
Yeah,
you know,
and it just, that kind of shit drives me crazy, which is why I'm not sure I could run a place like that, because I'd be like, you know what, get the fuck out. I don't need your money. And when in fact I probably did need the money. Anyway, so we went to this back room.
And we stopped and got a glass of water on the way.
Yep. So yeah, and then it was just, we paired off and...
Well, yeah, because soon after we got up there, we paired off. You and her were together, and then he and I were together next to each other on the bed. And soon after we got there, another couple came up, and they kind of stopped as they came in, as if, ooh, because I think we were just laying down then.
Yeah.
And because it was just the two of us, we were a little more spread out on the bed, and they kind of stopped and they kind of looked and as if, oh, I don't want to interrupt. And I was like, oh, no, come on, we can move over. There's plenty of room for 3 couples. And so we scooted over a bit, and they, sat down next to us and started doing their thing.
Because we were all literally on top of each other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was like, we were just sort of puppy piloting.
Right.
It was great.
Yeah. Well, not so much. We were a little more paired off.
Okay, well, yeah, but you're right.
Because I was, while you two were playing, I was, would reach over occasionally and kind of,
stroke
her, feel her a little bit and whatnot. But it waswasn't really like, I wouldn't say true puppy pile.
I guess that's true, yeah.
Because that was, again, just meeting this couple. We were playing and teasing each other. We were, I'm going to say feeling each other up and, performing oral sex and whatnot, but we didn't talk about penetrative sex. Yeah. I know that you and I both at some point kind of thought, ooh, that, I'd really like to have penetrative sex with them, but not knowing the lines, it was like, no, let's just keep it.
Once again, in a first for the Adams, we did not discuss any of this with the couple before we actually started playing.
No. But it was very clear that oral was fine.
Yeah.
And so, and also, as far as with her, I wanted to feel her and, massage her a little bit and whatnot. But at the same time, I don't know their lines on same-sex play. And so not knowing that, I didn't want to push it at all.
Yeah.
And so if we, hear from them next time they're in town or whatever, if we get a chance to talk to them again and they want to play again, then sure, I think it'd be great to have that conversation and feel out where everyone's lines are.
Yeah,
and,
I agree.
And that'll make the play a little more fun too. But not having that, I just kind of stuck to oral and manual stimulation because that seemed like a fairly safe zone. Everybody was having fun with that. It was
okay. There was a lot of, again, I got to give them credit because at one point he asked if he could kiss you, which I'm like, wow, well done, mate.
Yeah, he's a good kisser too.
Yeah, she is too.
Yeah. I feel like he had a similar kissing style to what we do.
Yeah,
so
and
it matched really well.
Yeah. So it was easy to this is a bad pun, to slip into that sort of what you normally do. I know, right? I don't even mean it like that, but there's not a better way of saying it. Anyway, but yeah, that playing with them was so much fun.
It was fun. And we played with them for a while.
Yeah,
it was a good long time,
Again, she is stunning.
Yeah.
Yum.
They're both delicious.
Yeah. Good
beautiful,
looking guy.
beautiful pieces of work.
Yeah. So we...
and he even has a little bit of a beard.
Yeah.
And that was good.
Sexy.
So, yeah.
Woof. Anyway, so then we showered off, and we paired off back with our original partners. And, we showered under the, in the shower. We showered somewhere else.
In the big shower.
Yeah, in the giant shower that they've got up there. So right next to the double beds, they've got, is it 3, I guess, shower heads in this big shower room?
Yeah.
Man, if we had like free reign to build a place, that's the way our bedroom would look. And then we, so we went downstairs. We all got dressed, I guess. We had, actually, we talked a bit more with them.
We did talk a little bit more,
for probably another 20 minutes, just casual talk, and then got dressed and started to head out. And that was at about 2:45, 15 minutes before OSS shut down.
I was going to say, I think it was about closing time, and there was one couple left in the dressing room.
Fighting.
So...
It's always... Don't air out your dirty laundry in a swingers club, folks.
Yeah. But that's what it was.
But
so we got all of our stuff together and headed out, and I think they were just before us leaving.
Yeah, just before us.
Yeah.
But so again, another first for the Adams. We actually played with a couple on the first
time we met them.
First time meeting them.
Yeah.
That was weird for us.
It was, and it was.
Oh, I'm glad we did.
I was gonna say it wasn't. It was one of those things that I didn't even really question it at the time. It just
I know.
felt natural.
Yeah, again, they were easy to talk to, and
I think there was enough connection there that you and I both felt that it was the natural course of things.
Yeah.
You know, neither of us felt like, ooh, I'm doing something wrong. You
Yeah,
know? So
absolutely.
And at the same time, you know, if you thought I shouldn't or whatever, I think you would have felt free to say something
Oh, yeah,
or pull me
absolutely.
aside.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the fact
we would
that
have
you
talked
did,
about it before we even went upstairs
Yeah.
for the massage. Because
Yeah.
when you go up the stairs for a massage, you know what's
you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know where that
And-
leads.
which was also, I guess, one of the
Yeah.
reasons that we went from the hot tub downstairs to get a wine and then back up
Mm-hmm.
was so that we could sort of say, if either one of us had an issue,
Yeah.
let's not do this or let's leave it here or whatever.
Yeah. So it was both, I think, a time, give them a bit of time to themselves.
Yeah.
If they didn't want to play with other people, then they can very easily sequester themselves or say something. If they needed to debrief or talk about anything, they could.
Yeah.
And so I think having that separation, you know, after you've been talking to a couple for a little while like that and you've had good conversation, you've been kind of hanging out for a bit, it's not a bad thing just to take a break and
Yeah.
walk away. You know, let me go over here, like I need to either go freshen up or use the restroom or get a drink, whatever, but give them a little bit of space. And you and your partner then have a little bit of space as well if you need to say anything or if your partner wants to say something but doesn't feel they can in front of the other couple.
Right.
And then you can come back together, the two couples, and, you know, continue on from there. But I think it is good because it wasn't a quick wham bam thank you ma'am thing. It was drawn out over a number of hours.
Yeah.
And so I think it was good to have the break in between to let the couples reset if needed.
I agree.
And if not, then you continue on.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was intense.
It was.
And I'm not going to lie, I've thought about it a couple of times this weekend. It was like, that was hot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a lot of things. It's the fact that I do find them both attractive. I did, you know, it was different for us. So it's like, ooh, this feels naughty, you know, kind of
Yeah.
thing. But the whole thing was a really good experience.
It was a good experience,
The whole night, all in all, if you take this wrap up the whole night, it really was, I think, my best time, definitely. But
It
I think
was
our best time we've ever had at OSS.
Yeah. It was a ton of fun. Yeah.
From the sex ed and the performance side of that to everything. I mean, it was just fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really exciting evening,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good.
Definitely.
All right. Do we want to do a question?
Sure, we can do that.
Do you have one?
Yes, I was just pulling it up here.
Because I know we had a bunch of questions from Twitter.
We did, and that's one of them I was going to pull up. Would you like me to ask it?
Sure. Shoot.
All right. As a couple, how do you differentiate between attraction for a play partner, so more like fuller feelings, like, you know, more feelings versus a play partner, and where do you draw the line? And have you had strong feelings or fallen for a play partner? Or is that part of the boundaries and the debriefing that we do? So basically, you know, how do you keep a play partner and not,
Right. And not
actually fall for them?
So I know our answers are going to be vastly different on this.
What's your answer? Let's hear it.
I like falling for people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we've had this discussion before, and I think we've mentioned it on the I know we've mentioned it on the podcast because when we had the bartenders on, we discussed limerence.
Yeah.
That, you know, and I'm going to define limerence the way I like to define it, not necessarily the way it's truly defined. But limerence is that love of feeling like you're falling in love. It is an addiction for me. I love that feeling of love. Or like falling in love. It's that great sort of bubbly, effervescent, you know, you can't keep a stupid grin off your face. There's that excitement to see that person again. It's a great feeling. And it is a drug. I'm firm belief that it's a drug. I like feeling that way. So I do consider myself polyamorous in that I know that I can love more than one person. Maybe not equally. Definitely not equally, but I can definitely, I know I can love more than one person. So I don't try to stop it. You know, and I know like Blue Steel, I still love the guy. I mean, I absolutely love him. And I know still I'll say, you know, or will say I love you over text, and even in person. It's just, I think that's okay. I don't see a problem with falling in love with somebody. What you have to do is keep it compartmentalized to where you know that especially if they're a play partner, that you can love them, but you're not going to have the same kind of relationship that you might have with your primary partner. It's different. I like to think of it as, and this, I'm from East Kentucky, folks, so just deal with it. It's like family. You love your parents, you love your mom, you love your dad. No matter what you say, you don't love them equally. And you don't love them in the same way. And you might have siblings that you love as well. And you don't love your siblings the same way you love your parents. And then once you have children, you don't love your children the same way you love your parents and love your siblings. So all of this love is different. And you have to be able to realize that just because you're having sex with somebody and just because you might be developing a relationship or feelings with them, the love is different. And you have to be able to sort of compartmentalize that love and recognize that it's different. So I don't worry about it. I know you're different.
No, I tend to agree with you on the base level. I think where I'm different is that I compartmentalize a lot easier than you do. Because it's just how my brain works. I compartmentalize very much, but that doesn't mean that I don't fall in love with people. It's just that it's I don't know how to say this other than a more practical love. I still, a number of our play partners, we're very good friends with. We have very deep relationships with them. And I do love them. But it's not in a partner kind of love. It's like you say, it's a different type of love.
Is it still romantic love?
Yes. Well, yes and no. I don't know how to define it, because to me there's a bit of the romantic love maybe at first, but then it kind of builds into more of a long-term relationship kind of love.
Okay.
But not like a partner kind of love, because
like a best friend kind of love.
Yeah, I would say more
because
like
I think that
best
a lot of
friend
people
kind of
love their best friends. Yeah. They may not say that. I think women are more apt to say "I love you" to their best friends than men are. But I still think that men feel love for their best friends.
I would say it's more that kind of a love, because to me a partner kind of love, there's a deeper connection. There's you feel truly like a partner, and like they compliment you 100%, or, mostly. And you have that also, the practicality of the fact that you can actually live with them on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Whereas, many of our partners, even if I love them to death, I could not live with them.
Fair enough.
Short term is fine, but not long term.
Yeah.
But I would say that a best friend kind of love is a good way to put it. And I think that's perfectly fine. It's not wrong to love your play partners. In fact, it's a very good thing. It brings you closer together.
Yeah, I think it makes the sex better as well.
Absolutely, because you know them better and you have that more of a connection with them. But it's still a different kind than I think with your primary partner. And if you do fall for a play partner, you do fall in love with them, you do love them in some way or another, I think it's important to recognize the fact that it is different, and to maybe compartmentalize it a bit so that you don't think of them then as a primary partner.
Yeah. So I guess
and I don't know how to say to do that, because
so I can see one flaw or one way to stand out. So let's say we have like Blue Steel.
Yeah.
So when we first started saying "I love you" to him, he was single. Mm-hmm. And we were all still playing together. So I guess the question would be, from his point of view, I'd be curious to know, like, what kind of love does he allow himself to have?
Right.
Because it can't be. So when we're talking about couples, it's easy to say that. Mm-hmm. I love the couple, but I know that you're still my home base and whatever.
Your go-to,
home base.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for someone who is a third,
sure,
that might be different. It might be a bit harder to compartmentalize, because whoever he or she is seeing,
mm-hmm.
And even in a couple, they may love the couple.
Right.
The third may love the couple differently. I don't know. I can see where there's issue there, but for me, I just sort of let myself go with it, and much to my own ruin at times.
Let the chips fall where they Yeah.
I think I've said it on here before. I'm very quick to fall in love. I'm very quick to get my heart broken. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. I would rather sort of drown myself in that limerence and love and be hurt than not to feel that kind of bubbly mm-hmm. excitement that you get. I like the bubbly excitement.
Yeah. And it is fun, like I said, with some of our play partners, our regulars that we do have a very deep connection with. it makes it that much better and that much more fun when we do get together with them.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is then like your best friends or like family, and it's, you just have that connection, and it makes it a lot more fun to play, and you understand each other better. And so then if there is a bit of time in between where you may not talk as much, or if they get busy with life or you do, and then you come back together again, then it's like, oh my God, let's just jump right back in, and it's so much fun.
I think the greatest risk of all this is that if you have a level of feeling for somebody, that you assume that they have that same level, and they don't. I think that's almost worse than that getting your heart broken by somebody just leaving, is you think that you are on the similar level, and in fact you are completely dissimilar, because that's happened as well.
But what if you recognize that you're not on the same level? If you know that you feel a lot more strongly than the other person does?
It's tough. I don't know. And I've been in that situation as well, and it's tough because I don't know. I would almost rather just cut it off. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there's always that hope that maybe that person will come around. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah.
I said I don't know probably 8 times in the last 10 minutes, which I think our therapist would love that. But it's difficult. So I think we've sort of answered that question.
Yeah. Go ahead. Fall for the play partners.
Yeah, that's for me. That's it.
I always, so whenever I was, single and dating people, I always said that it was like a roller coaster ride. You get on and you have fun, you enjoy the ride as long as it lasts, and then when it's over, get off, get on another ride.
Yeah, but you're ultra practical.
I am. Yeah.
Whereas some of us are hopeless, bloody-hearted romantics.
Right.
Whatever. Bleeding heart romantics.
There you go.
Yeah. Bloody heart. I don't know. My cocktail's going straight to my head. So that's our show. We're sticking to it. So email us at theatomsoflove@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. We recently changed our Twitter handle. We are now at By the By Podcast. Mm-hmm. And you can find us on Facebook. By the By Podcast. Search that, all one word. Mm-hmm. Or you can find us on our website, www.bytheby.com.au. And I think that's all the places you can find us.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, there you go. So search for us.
Yeah.
Talk to us. Email us. And
we always do appreciate it.
Please comment. We try to reply to all of our emails within a very quick turnaround time. So, we definitely appreciate y'all.
Excellent. Thanks for listening to us here on By the By.